Hey guys, welcome back. Another episode of Project Pills, and today we're wrapping up equipped squats, first day of the week. Everything got juggled around a little bit this week because I'm heading out to the cabin for a nice relaxing weekend of canoeing and fishing, which I can't wait for at this point because I'm dying in training. But that's to be expected, so it's a good kind of dying. Like I said, today was equipped squats, so we'll start there. Worked up to, I think, 170 raw, took 220 to like quarter squat gang depth, took 270, first light wrap I think. Then my working sets were 340 was the first one, 355 was my second, because 340 felt really good. Not sure where the depth was on that one, I didn't really get anybody to film a side angle. 355 was super high, but it was really, really easy. I started being a little bit more conscious of where the leg is sitting, or where the cuff of the leg is sitting on my leg. So I find that the further down the leg is on the suit, the more carryover you're gonna get, but the harder it's gonna be to get to depth. So as I went through my working sets, that rode up a little bit. I think by my third set, I took 363 kilos for my third one. My first 800-pound squat, had the legs in the right spot, got just barely to depth. So I think in this coming meet, I'm gonna be riding the legs a tiny bit higher than what they were today. And then hopefully by Worlds I can get strong enough that I'll be able to ride the legs a little bit lower and use that extra carryover. But yeah, so 363, I got a side angle of it. I'll try to get Dylan to put that in the video. It's really, really on the line. I would say it's in, but just barely. If you watch from the front angle though, it looks like it's about 3 inches below parallel, which is really funny. That's just kind of equipped lifting. The way things shift and the way people sit into the hole is a very skill-based thing. So it's taken a long time to kind of get used to that and figure out just what depth feels like and where to do the little dip and how to stay rigid enough that I'm not losing it forward if I were to hit depth and blah, 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 blah. Moving on from that, I did my raw bench today and that was just a mess. I was feeling good on the way up. Hit 155, went well, hit 165, felt a little heavy, but watched the video back and it moved well. So I decided instead of going to the planned 175 today, I was gonna go 172, play a little bit safe and hopefully get a good rep off there, and 172 just stapled me. Barely even moved off my chest. I don't know what the hell was going on. It was pretty embarrassing. Came down, took 170 because that's what I took last week, and it was nice and smooth. So I figured, well, I'll just take 170, you know, I'll clean it up, maybe get it a little bit faster than last week. It should be good. Better pause than last week because I wasn't happy with how long I had paused on that rep. And 170 was a smoke show. It moved really well. So I was like, well, what the hell? What's going on here? I guess I just need to like lower it a little bit faster and be a little bit, you know, just not be a wuss with it. So I was like 172, put it back on the bar, got it maybe 3 inches off my chest as opposed to 2 inches off my chest, and it just stapled me. So I honestly don't even know what to say about that. I don't know what to tell you guys, but the raw bench was just not there today. I'm gonna try not to read too much into it, try not to get too pissed off or worried about it, and hope that, you know, it comes back next week, because whatever. I'm not training for a raw meet, right? So, moving on from that, did slingshot today, and I kind of had an indication that my slingshot was gonna be down because my raw bench was down, and I was right. Took 192 instead of the planned 195. And I think if a fly had landed on the bar, it probably would have dropped back onto my face. So that was definitely a 10. Then 170 instead of 175 for my set of 4. Wasn't quite as bad, still probably a 9, 9.5. But the 9 was, or sorry, that set was prescribed to be a 9, so it makes a little bit more sense to do that there. And then came down to 160, banged out a couple of sets, and I'm gonna skip my deadlift volume today and maybe start tapering some things back as I lead into my meet next weekend. So yeah, that's about it for today. Moving on to the question of the day today. We had a question roll in about deloading from JM Recordings. He's wondering if I usually take a week off, train at 50%, lower volume, etc. And to answer that question, my deloads usually consist of a big swing in specificity. So whereas most of my training, or a lot of my training, is going to be competition lifts, singles, like the most specific training you can do. For a deload, I'm gonna be doing sets of 10 in very non-competition movements, or sets of 12, or things like pull-ups, or extra ab work, or overhead press. Lots of things that I don't generally do in my training program, in my sort of peaking or developmental blocks, however you want to classify those. So a deload for me is an opportunity to work on some stuff that I don't usually do. I think throwing in some intermittent ab work and core work and some of that patterning and stuff like that can be really beneficial. And it also just provides me a bit of a mental break. You know, you come in, you're here for 40 minutes, you do a bunch of stuff you don't normally do, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to do it that way and get it out of the way. And it feels like a break, both mentally and physically, because obviously I'm not a high bar squatter, so if I were to do high bar for a set of 10, that's a vastly lower amount of weight than I would use, absolute weight, than I would use on a regular low bar squat or whatever. So a huge break in specificity. We generally stick to about the same template. So if I squat, bench day one, I would do squat, bench, except very non-specific movements that sort of fit into those same categories. So we tend to keep the frequency similar, but maybe instead of deadlifting, I'm doing rows. So just a lot of stuff that's a lot less taxing, but still coming in, getting the work done. For some of my athletes, depending on where they are in the training cycle, we might just take a break back, or we might just have a low stress week. It all really depends on the training strategy you're using, but if you want to talk, typical deload, that's what we're looking at for the most part. Anyways, I hope that helps answer your question. Thanks for tuning in. I'm pretty stoked to have squatted 800 pounds today, and I can't wait to spend the weekend relaxing. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Hit the like if you liked it. Hit the subscribe button, stay tuned. There should be some more big lifts coming up this week before I start tapering for competition, and we will have a cool competition video for you guys. Leave those questions below, and thanks again. Take care, guys.